right in front of you.
We jump back in time to the Maginot, 17 days before it crashes into Earth. In the opening scene of Alien, Earth's 5th episode, one of the crew members wakes Morrow up and tells him they have an issue. The host is nearly dead, the captain is dead, and the scientific officer has been badly beaten by a facehugger. You can't just cut these things off and be a goner once they've caught on, apparently. A saboteur is the cause of the fire that has also started. Both their engine relays and navigation systems have been destroyed as a result. A ship launching itself that quickly at Earth would inflict significant damage. Therefore, it appears that Morrow's encouragement to the engineers to start working on rectifying this had some impact, much more than the ship did in reality. Zora Zavary assumes charge after the captain dies, and he encourages her to look into this. However, considering that she had a liaison with this science officer, Bronsky, she might not be the greatest person to ask, reiterating that getting the cargo back to Earth is the most important thing here. He believes her judgment is impaired. Believing that this will save the science officer, the group decides to put him in serosleep. The bad news is that it won't. Morrow investigates the remaining specimens they have taken, the fire's location and potential causes. Due of a blind gap, it is initially unclear who the saboteur is on the CCTV footage. But in this video, he also sees Bronsky and Zavary getting it on in the cargo hold. Time and a place, you know. To speak with Mother, Zavary goes to the front of the ship. In essence, they restate what Morrow has already informed her. This cargo is the most important thing. A hole is blown in the ship's side that evening. An alert goes off as Zavary and Morrow debate what to do with the engineers, because their fuel supplies are now down to 8%. A violation of the Seropod quarantine has occurred. Bronsky is no longer alive, and the facehugger has finished its job. Morrow equips Clem and Zavary with these electric zappers in an attempt to restrain the Xeno, which is currently on the loose, since more species, like the eyeball creature Ocellus, manage to emerge in the lab and smash free from their container. They regrettably have greater fish to fry. The crew is gathered by Zavary, who provides them with an update. She requests that they sweep the ship and retrieve the xenomorph, revealing that a saboteur is aboard. Since they are now unsure of the identity, any movement unrelated to duty is halted. Morrow also raises his voice, requesting activity logs and duty rosters within an hour. Unfortunately, a blood bug that escaped in the lab and sprayed baby blood bugs into the water bottle caused one of the engineers to consume a tainted bottle. These animals move swiftly, and the engineer eventually passes out and throws up blood. When Zavary and the irresponsible science officer find out about the escaping eyeball, they decide to put it off until later, closing the lab and leaving. Examining the logs, Morrow finds an interesting exchange between Petrovich and Boy Cavalier. Petrovich has apparently been working with Cavalier all along, feigning cryosleep while he is actually awake and moving around. The engineer is in the custody of the science officer, and Zavary authorizes them to operate on him. Although it is evident that he is tainted, Morrow does not believe this is a wise move. They all think it's just a case of tics and don't wear hazmat suits or other protective gear. Rahim and the science officer are both surprised as the blood bugs kill them both with an acid shower because of Zavary's indecision. In the midst of all of this, Tang is also killed by the xenomorph while he is by himself following an interrogation. Morrow chooses to seize control of the ship for himself since he has had enough. Petrovich appears, starts shooting at Clem and Morrow, and starts firing back. It's too late when the two seek refuge in the tainted laboratory. Unaware that Clem is dead, Morrow releases Ocellus. It appears that no one made the effort to get in touch and inform them about the small fellow. And to make things worse, the blood bugs also escape. In the hallway, the xenomorph appears just behind Zavary, although it does not launch an assault at this time. Rather, it allows her to flee and chooses to follow her all the way to the bridge. Curiously, Ocellus shows there and infects the engineer, assuming the role of a human host. After a battle, it is able to hold onto its face long enough to divert the Xeno and allow Morrow to talk to Mother. This brings us to episode 1, in which Morrow allows Zavary and the rest of the crew to perish as a sacrifice for the xenomorph. The ship crash lands after he enters the impact room. After that, Morrow goes to see the CEO of Yutani and makes a commitment to assassinate Boy Cavalier and retrieve her specimens. Morrow was correct after viewing this episode and witnessing the blatant ineptitude of everyone on board this ship. They all ought to perish. This chapter's placement is really strange since, despite the fact that it has a lot of mood and beautiful sleight of hand fake-outs. We already know how it will end. We are aware that the specimens appear, and the entire crew perishes. Her first contact with the Xeno is meaningless, because she doesn't perish there because we already know the captain is dead. In order to keep us guessing about the show's conclusion, wouldn't it have made more sense for this episode to occur right at the beginning? To add a little intrigue, we may have also omitted the identity of the saboteur. Though it appears to function as a chaos merchant and doesn't truly take sides, knowing more about Ocellus and the creature's goals is a welcome addition. We are aware of its high level of intelligence, and it seems more interested in defending its domain and its prey than in joining forces with the humans to fight the xenomorph in the end. Although this is a bit of a stretch, the chapter also affirms that Cavalier used a planted crew member to damage the ship. We are inclined to suppose that Cavalier contacted the Maginaut because the child is still relatively young, and the mission began 40 years ago, persuaded a crew member to undermine the others, and stayed undercover the whole time. Even though the ship came in like an arrow, he intuitively knew that it would crash land precisely in Prodigy City and not totally destroy everything he had built. It looks like a huge leap, at a juncture in the narrative where we are unlikely to care about or sympathize with anyone other than Morrow. This episode ultimately restates what we already knew will happen. This episode is atmospheric but tedious, effectively reworking the original Alien film with poor writing and inept characters. Yes, it recontextualizes some of his objectives and the reasons he was communicating to Mother.